Think about some of the coolest stories that you have ever seen, and what is it that makes the hero someone that you would root for? Now ask yourself, what if you allowed yourself to start to do the things that would lend to you being able to see yourself in that way? Every hero has an origin story. And let's be real, none of them start with everything is perfect and life was easy. The struggles, the setbacks, the weird quirks. That's the good stuff. That's what makes the story worth telling. But here's the truth. You're already living a story. The question is, are you owning it? If you're anything like me and you want to break down why your struggles are your street cred, why your so-called flaws are really just unclaimed style points, and why owning your weird is the most powerful move that you can make. Because this world, it doesn't need another copy. It needs you. If you don't know, my name is Chad Joshua, and I'm working my way towards writing a 100-song catalog. I write songs about populism, freedom, and liberty. This is my artist channel that I use to promote those songs. In my free time, I like to have these discussions about better ways of thinking of things to help arm us accomplish the challenging goals that we have set for ourselves. Today, I thought it would be interesting if we took a look at exactly how it is that we think of ourselves and how the effort to make a distinct definition can lend to us a positive affirmation that better helps us to lean into those quirks and otherwise interesting things that make us each distinct and unique as our foundation to build something from. If we thought of our life right now as sort of the first act of a movie, you are in a training montage, the origin story, all of the challenges and the distinctions that make you feel different. They are the defining moments before the level up. So what if all these things that you've been trying to hide or downplay might actually be the proof that you're built for something bigger? In my effort as a songwriter, finished my first year of keeping a schedule to make songs and to publish them. With each new skill that I've gathered and I've tried to incorporate into my workflow, there's this bit of learning curve time and there's a ramp up speed wherein you get acclimated to the tasks that you're already doing on a regular basis. But it was definitely a significant year. After having previous attempts of getting on track, I finally have, and I've spent a year in a direct effort, and to me that is big success. But the entirety of this year would be exactly fitting in a training montage because I'm at the point where I'm still fighting out of obscurity, still trying to better understand the methods that you do things, trying to differentiate where you don't need to conform, where you do, and getting little by little, stronger by stronger in the effort. In addition to all that, I'm engaged with keeping a regular schedule at the gym and hitting some goals that have been elusive. And speaking from my own experience, as it may relate to you, there's something that you want to do and you're focused on the totality of it. While I acknowledge that, sometimes when you hit that absolute goal, it could be so fantastic, I'm sure. But if that isn't what you have to celebrate, and you're looking for something to have to celebrate, and that whole framing is one of the steps towards reaching later milestone, it certainly is something of substance. So if you're just setting out, I can tell you from my experience with this, but just seeing that training montage alone to a completion is something that is empowering. It's going to make you feel like a doer. And that's a whole lot better than feeling like a do-notter. And I know that it isn't always easy to just start. You may be in a moment where you're completely involved with something else entirely. So much so that any extracurricular pursuit just have to wait. As I mentioned, I get it. My life took me on such a side mission that any start at all became the real goal. But even now, getting to something that's so important to me, even if it is a so-called late start, I can't let that stop me. And at the same time, there isn't any real way to separate myself from the fact that my life has been what it has. So anything that I do from here on out is predicated by just how difficult it was for me to even get to the start. So rather than letting that all go to waste, I've made it a part of the story because it is the story. It's a story of persistence, stubbornness, stick-to-itiveness, and I present it every day out here on these walks in order to introduce myself to you and to share some encouragement, because while I didn't have all of the years free to have already written a 100-song catalog, I did spend all of those years building the persistence and the resolve that no matter what came up, I was going to get to task. So I say all that to say that struggles, they don't need to be your setbacks. They are your credentials. Every great hero story has the hero faced with obstacles that tested them. But instead of breaking the hero, those moments build them. Most people unwittingly let struggles define them in a negative way, instead of using them as fuel. Your hardships, they don't disqualify you. They do the opposite. The worst moments are usually the ones that equip you with the tools that you'll need to succeed. In every journey, there's the one moment, breaking point, that turns into the breakthrough. The hero doesn't get weaker. They find their purpose. Your struggles, they do the same thing for you. You just have to keep that in mind and frame it in a way that's useful for yourself. Something that gives you that grit, that go juice. So what is one struggle that has shaped who you are today? And rather than resenting it, what if you could put it to service and make it something that's useful for once? After we're all done overcoming the limiting beliefs that come from our struggles, it's probably time to turn our attention onto our flaws, quirks that define each of us so uniquely from one another. I think the most important thing is to keep in mind that the thing that makes you different is the thing that makes you interesting. So what is it about you that if you stopped hiding it and started to own it, could have a very significant impact on your effort? The things that we try to suppress are often the things that make us magnetic, because people don't want to connect with some illusion of perfection. They want to connect with something real. Your quirks aren't your weaknesses. They're your identifiers. And rather than hiding them away, you do yourself a favor just giving over to leaning into yourself. I mean, for goodness sakes, it's just you. You are your quirks and your flaws, just as I am mine. So what, I have an old man face. What can you do? Should you just die out now? Should you? So what, I live in a faraway land. So what if people point at me and say, look at the foreigner? Who cares? It's the fun. You have to live your own weird. You have to do your own you. I know it's not easy. There are all kinds of things that have us feeling self-conscious, shy, and I don't know much. What I do know is that you owe it to yourself to engage in your life and in the pursuits that resonate with you, that mean something to you. And there is no promise that you're ever going to reach some beautiful, glistening city in the future. But just because that's true, it doesn't mean that you should rob yourself of the adventure of setting out for it. Who cares? Who cares about what anybody thinks? Who cares about what I think? Because God knows I'm only here telling you this truth in order to ingratiate myself with you. You have to reconcile these things for yourself. But I can say that the less time you spend wasting making the effort to do just that, the better you've taken care of yourself. And the better that you take care of yourself, the more confidence you live with. And the more confidence you live with, the more effective you are. And the more effective you are, the more interesting your hero journey becomes. All of this, setting out, embarking on your past, has nothing to do with waiting for a perfect moment. It isn't about preparing yourself to become the hero before you take the hero journey. It's about realizing that you already have everything that you need. The only thing left is to step into it fully. So before you waste one more moment thinking anything otherwise, you keep your head up, and I'm going to keep my head up. If you haven't had a chance to listen to my new song, you can hear it there. And we'll talk again soon.